me feeling like I'm Akademiks.
She reported that Drake dropped iHeartMedia from his petition in Bexar County, and he's only going after UMG, right? Now, according to her, right, because it said Drake has reached a private settlement, this was the Rolling Stone article, with iHeartMedia after he sued the radio company amid his ongoing claims that his record label, Universal Music Group, made some covert payments to promote airplay of Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us. Nancy Dillon added some further context because she says she had a source at iHeartMedia saying in exchange for documents that showed iHeart did nothing wrong, Drake agreed to drop his petition. No payments were made by either one of us. Now, that came out, and, obviously fan groups are taking it one way or the other, blah, blah, blah. And then later we get to hear that Drake actually filed, even though he dismissed or he was down to remove iHeartMedia from the petition, he filed a motion for discovery, and he's using certain things that he's alleging iHeartMedia was complicit in. For example, in this 26-page motion for discovery he submitted to Bexar County's district court, Drake's legal team is doubling down on the allegations that UMG provided payments to iHeartMedia for radio play. They also cite the FCC investigation of iHeartMedia for payola violations. Now, I know we're in this whole clusterfuck of fans want to be like, yo, look, Drake's desperate, and oh, look, no, this is real. Like, it means that Drake got everything like figured out and they're going to pay him billions of dollars. Let me give you the actual understanding of what this is. Number one, and also here's the thing too. I seen Shorty on, what's her name? Lauren LaRosa or something? Lauren LaRosa. She like the third wheel on the Breakfast Club. So she actually put out, listen, let me go.
Okay, so y'all remember the whole legal back and forth that Drake had happening in Texas with like iHeart, and he was alleging that Universal Music Group was paying money to iHeart radio stations over Not Like Us and boosting the streams. So there have been reports that there was an alleged settlement, but that is not what happened.
What happened?
Well, we know nobody cares about the truth and the lies more entertaining, but I need DJ Akademiks and all the Drake fan pages to gather around.
Hold up. I know I was mentioning. What the fuck?
To get the truth regardless.
Get
okay?
the facts.
It's simple. What Drake filed against iHeart wasn't a lawsuit. What he filed was a petition.
Yes.
And it was a petition to try to make iHeart give a deposition. So Drake wasn't asking for money. He was asking for information. Right. So iHeart could not have made a payment. iHeart couldn't.
Now, Mr. Charla, since you called for the king, you have gotten the king. I'm very aware this is a petition. Also, before you report on this, we also have to remind everyone that Charlemagne works for the Breakfast Club, which is owned solely by iHeartMedia. You get what I'm saying? It's like basically saying Akademiks TV on Twitter tweeted out some shit about me, and it's like, well, who owns it? Me. You get what I'm saying? Hey, the point is, we also have to consider this source, but I will give the actual understanding of what this is. And let me just keep going, but I'm only responding since, when you call for the king do step up.
Make iHeart give a deposition. So Drake wasn't asking for money. He was asking for information. Right. So iHeart could not have made a payment. iHeart could negotiate to give Drake documents or something else showing they didn't do anything wrong. And once Drake received those documents and saw that there was nothing there, he could agree to drop his petition. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, he simply dropped his petition because after he saw what he needed to see, he realized iHeart was not engaged in any of the actions that he was accusing them of.
That's very incorrect, and I'll explain afterwards.
End of story. And I know Drake fan pages won't run with that because it's not as entertaining as saying, iHeart settled with Drake for money, and Drake was right all along. But
I'm also not sitting here to say Drake was right all along.
No, your guy Drake simply dropped the lawsuit or dropped the petition because there was nothing there.
No, that's absolutely not true. That's absolutely not true. And Again, Charlotte's my guy, so we're speaking very civilly here. I respect him, but let's really put this on the table, okay? And this is not a. I feel like I'm using political words when I'm talking about hip hop because fan groups are so divided. So you have Kendrick fans that want to hear one thing, you have Drake fans that want to hear one thing, and I'm just here to just tell you like it is. The reality of that petition is that Drake was asking iHeart for information and for maybe documents or maybe payments that could prove that they were getting paid by Universal. Now, here's the very facts that Charlamagne is admitting that I'm going to tell you. Again, none of this is coming from Drake, by the way. None of this is coming from OVO. This is coming from just anyone with fucking common sense. It is completely illegal for any radio station to take monetary payments to promote or play songs in a rhythmic capacity. So what does that mean? If I'm over here doing some underhanded shit underneath the table and you sue me and say, could you give me the proof? You think I'm going to give you the proof? Only an idiot would do that. So the reality of payola, which by the way, the FCC has busted iHeart or other entities that have operated because they have these radio licenses, which they're using public airwaves. They've been busted for payola or doing things multiple times in the long storied history of radio broadcasting. But I'll digress on that. The point is this. You're not going to ask iHeart, could you tell us how you're getting payola? And they're going to be like, oh, here's exactly how we're doing it. Nobody does that, right? So Drake asking was really just a formality. Really was just trying to get them to do a deposition. They were never going to give Drake documents and say, hey, we did get mad money, and of course we use that as incentive to play Not Like. They were never going to do that. By the way, what I'm explaining has nothing to do with Not Like Us. I just want to explain how this looks on a legal front. And I would challenge whether it's Lauren LaRosa, Charlamagne, or whoever else, including their source at the Breakfast Club. I think I'm a pretty knowledgeable person. I'm sorry. I might be the smartest cookie if I was in that room. I'm only speaking about what the law is, right? So payola is clearly illegal. No company is going to say, here's the files. We're doing illegal shit. That's basically saying, like, that's all type of antitrust violations and also all type of violations about payola. iHeart would be just getting reamed through. They'll be getting ran through, by the feds. They're not going to give up to a rapper. Oh, yeah, of course we're taking mad money. That's a crime. So he was never going to get that. Here's the real reason why it was actually dropped. And, of course, iHeart's going to send out their statement through their own company or their own subsidiary, The Breakfast Club, but it didn't absolve iHeart. Drake dropped it because he realizes, number one, he ain't going to get much from the company. They're not going to snitch on themselves. What actually happened is that the FCC is probing iHeart. So because Drake's civil lawsuit, he could only do so much. He could subpoena certain shit, but he can't do that much, even if it's approved by a judge, because who's going to snitch on themselves? Here's the difference. When the FCC, the federal, I'm forgetting what FCC stands for. FCC, what it stands for. Okay, the Federal Communications Commission. I was thinking about FTC, Federal Trade Commission, but Federal Communications Commission. They have the legal authority to do an invasive research and also investigation about iHeart because they're the people who actually govern and they monitor that radio license or the license to operate on government airwaves, that's exactly what they broadcast the signals of iHeart, whether it's Power 105 or they have hundreds of stations throughout the country. So they could actually really look behind the fucking scenes to see what's going on. Drake was never going to get people to volunteer snitch on themselves. So Drake was saying, hey, could you volunteer snitch on yourself? Of course, iHeart's going to be like, what? Okay, let's think about it. They're not going to snitch on themselves. When Drake realized iHeart is getting probed by the FCC, he's like, never mind, I don't need y'all to snitch on yourself. they're about to go. They're about to give me exactly what I need. That's the point. So when Charlemagne says this, it's very important to, and I wonder why this part of reporting was left out. But I know why it's left out. It's left out because the Breakfast Club is owned by iHeartMedia that's getting probed by the FCC. If we're going to tell the story, again, there's something called line by admission. And I ain't going to lie, I'm sounding like Andrew Tate because I watched this whole interview today. Tell the whole story, right? The whole story is, by the way, I'm not here trying to act like Drake got some big case. I'm not here trying to act like Drake about to get millions of dollars or get money at all. But we got to be factual in what we're saying. The facts of the matter is this. Drake, after trying to get documents from iHeart, it's not that iHeart didn't do nothing wrong, because iHeart and other companies have been investigated for payola, which is a crime before, right? So if they were all that innocent, why do the feds keep looking into them? Drake dropped his probe, or dropped the request to get some information after he realized the feds is on their ass. So the feds gonna come with it anyway. You get what I'm saying? That's the point I guarantee was left out of everything. The iHeart-owned Breakfast Club is not gonna willingly volunteer that they're getting probed by the feds. Fuck what Drake got going on. What about the feds looking into y'all? If y'all ain't doing nothing wrong, why the feds looking into y'all? Could we say this again? If y'all not doing nothing wrong and y'all told Drake, kick rocks, we ain't do shit wrong, or Drake looked at him and be like, oh, they ain't do nothing wrong, is the feds gonna say the same thing? Here's the thing, Charlemagne wouldn't speak for the entire company, nor would anybody else, Lauren LaRosa or any other representative, because the feds is gonna do a really expansive look. If niggas is over there, whether it be a radio DJ or programmer, it could be any type of mixed DJ, it could be the radio programmer, which is the person who usually, or the music program, for any stations, it could be one, it could be a whole region. They'll figure out, are y'all niggas taking millions of dollars, maybe just tens of thousands of dollars to play music at a inordinary pace, which would give promotion and an unfair advantage to a record company or an artist. Not saying this has nothing to do with Not Like Us, but the point of the matter is this. If y'all gonna tell the story, you heard what Usher said. If I'm gonna tell it, then I gotta tell it all. That's a fact. Tell it all. The Drake dropped his lawsuit. Drake removed y'all from the petition. You're right. No lawsuits. Petition, because the FCC looking into y'all. It's like saying, yo, Diddy's doing this, Diddy's doing this. Then the feds start investigating Diddy. Be like, yeah, all right, cool. Let them do the job. That's the point. That's what's happening right here. So again, I don't think any of these people, and again, you know, I do want to say I have a relationship with Charlemagne. I'm not accusing Charlemagne because he's an employee of iHeart. I don't think he's not a radio programmer. He don't play music anyway, so this got nothing to do with him. But to sit there and say that this was proof that iHeart didn't do nothing wrong. Drake is accusing iHeart of payola. The FCC has launched a probe into iHeart for payola. If I'm just some lunatic and I say you killed somebody, right? Oh, yo, I think you killed somebody. And say you claim you got this evidence that you showed me that you ain't killed nobody. Why the fuck would the feds go investigate you for killing somebody? Unless maybe there's something there, or maybe there's something that don't look too good. Not saying that nobody at iHeart did nothing crazy, but the feds is looking into y'all. The feds is looking. That's the problem, okay? So, by the way, let's read this article while we're here. The Federal Communications Commission has warned radio station owners that it's cracking down on what it describes as payola practices. In a letter sent Monday to iHeartMedia CEO Robert Pittman, by the way, you won't hear that be mentioned on the Breakfast Club. You won't hear that from Lauren LaRosa, and I guarantee you I guarantee you the sources that Charlemagne would be quoting won't be this. And by the way, this is one of the websites I know he likes, because I love this website too, Variety. So you know it's official. In a letter sent to iHeart CEO Robert Pittman, FCC Chairman Brandon Carr says the FCC is scrutinizing the company's activity, particularly around the live music events it hosts throughout the year. Specifically, it's pressing iHeart on whether it improperly pressures artists to perform without payments. Okay, so now we're also getting how they're looking into it, right? So again, you have to remember. So, and let me explain payola and how it's disguised these days, right? By the way, payola still exists. Let me tell you how it exists. So what basic payola is, a record label wants to promote, I don't know, let me just make up a song. Let me not even name a song. They want to promote the song Chat Niggas. The easy way to go, like you see the numbers, okay, Hot 97 and Power 105. By the way, Hot 97 isn't owned by iHeart, it's owned by MS Communication. Power 105, that's owned by iHeart. Anyway, let's just stick to iHeart. I think Z100 and Power 105 iHeart stations. Okay. A radio station might be like, we want to promote the song Chat Niggas. All right. Yo, we want it to be played mad times because we're trying to get this song to blow. Yo, how about if we give you like $300,000? We want to do like a 2-week campaign. Play it as much as you can. If a radio programmer takes it, if the station itself takes it, if a DJ takes it, means taking money to play the song, that's payola. Now, this shit's been existing for a long time. Only an idiot would do that. So what happens is payola these days is routed in a really shrewd way, which, by the way, you should know. In most businesses and instances, there's the scam over time just gets a little bit smarter. Think about this, right? Like, we all know about inside trading, except we see Nancy Pelosi, who's a government official, who votes on all this type of shit. She has the best trading history. Like, she's the best trader. Why? Isn't that insider trading? You know, if you vote on this stock is going to go up or down, and you're also trading. Well, there's loopholes that actually allow her to exist and do what she does. You get what I'm saying? Loopholes I think eventually they should close. Let me not digress. The point is this. Payola these days, only an idiot would go with a brown paper bag with $250,000 and say, hey, play this song all the time. You're going to jail. That's how you go to jail, right? The way they do it now is they use an intermediary. It's called a radio promotions team. So what happens is the label pays this intermediary to promote the song. But of course, you got to come back with results. What does that team do? All right, well, I'm going to go grease this hot DJ who be in the clubs, but he be on the station. I'm going to grease him on the side here. The middleman takes the blame off of UMG. This is why it's going to be a lot of nothing burgers Drake is going to find, because labels usually do the majority of the dirt through the middleman. Like, the label is not going to, you're not going to see a UMG check to some illegal shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, you know, like, nigga. No, they're smart. So you're going to see the middlemen. So for radio specifically, there's radio promotion people. There's these like street teams. There's about like 3 or 4 different ways. Those people then will engage the radio stations, the radio programmers, this and third. I'll give you another way how they do it. Hey, listen, yo, we have a song we want you to play all the time. Well, if we pay you to play the song, that's illegal. Well, how can we work around that? Well, just like all TV stations or even this YouTube channel or however y'all watching this, just like the Super Bowl, it's ran by ads. So they might play 4 or 5 songs, then they run some ads. Well, if we can't pay for the song to be played, how about if we just pay for you to advertise our tour? That's not illegal. All right, we're going to spend $100,000 on you advertising our tour. It's a wink-wink operation. You take that money, you're incentivized to play my song, though. That's the point. So it's payola, but it's not technically payola. So when the feds come knocking, hey, this label or this radio promotions company paid this amount, blah, 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 and you play the song spins increase. Oh, no, the money was really for, they were promoting their tour. It wasn't for the, bingo. We're just selling the ad. Bingo. So again, that's another reason why Drake wasn't going to find nothing with iHeart. Like, iHeart is a huge company. It's one of the biggest radio companies. You're not going to find it. The FCC, they know all these tactics. They're going to go be able to go do the digging to actually find if there is some type of, payola going on. So going back to what was said here, it says iHeart is improperly pressuring artists to perform without payments at events. So you know how that's payola? A, instead of you paying us to play your record, which is payola, perform at our events for free and we'll play it more. You see? That's the point. So it will be particularly concerning to me on the heels of the FCC enforcement advisory. iHeart is proceeding in a manner that doesn't comply with federal payola requirements. Indeed, I want to know whether iHeart is effectively and secretly forcing musicians to choose between 1, receiving their usual ordinary full-scale compensation for performing, or 2, receiving less favorable, or 2, receiving less favorable airplay on iHeart radio stations. Okay? They issued an advisory following payola accusations or forced quid pro quo, right? Quid pro quo was like, you do this, I do this. It's almost like no monetary transaction, but that's payola as well. Okay? If you say, I'm going to play your music more only if you do an interview for us, that is in itself payola. Okay? Now, there's also plugola. There's a few other things as well. By the way, the FCC law, and for the people who are interested in this doesn't apply to everywhere, right? If you actually run an internet radio show, you could take money to play songs. Like, this only goes for government. So all airwaves, radio airwaves, they belong to the government. They're leased by these stations. So iHeart doesn't own the frequency 105.1, which is where the Breakfast Club is listed on. It's leased. The federal government owns that frequency. At any time, they could take over the frequency. By the way, this is why usually, I believe either monthly or bi-monthly, I forgot the timing these days, the government will take over the thing and do a government test. That if this is back in the day, these days they could send a tweet probably or a TikTok. But back in the day, it was the way for the government, if they needed to tell the U.S. population something in an emergency, they could automatically take over everything. So they own the airwaves, not these companies. So when they leased these airwaves to the companies, they gave them rules. The rule is you can't make money, especially in a music industry, by pay for play, because that's how monopolization works, where it's going to be an unfair advantage for the people who don't have money. Get what I'm saying? Anyway, I could keep reading. In a statement, blah, blah, the FCC chairman is interested in ensuring the radio industry is compliant with all applicable laws and regulations, and confirmed that they will be responding expeditiously to the questions posed by Carr. The FCC, and holds a different weight. Drake requested information. Nah, Drake, just look at this. You think they were showing Drake really internal shit? You think they were going to give Drake really, a revenue sheet about all of the money and where it came from and all of the places and vendors that they have that either buy ads or whatever? You think they were going to give Drake that? They're going to give it to the federal government, though. This is why Drake fell back. That's the point. Okay? It says with a deadline, so the FCC is requesting information with a deadline of 10 days to comply from iHeart regarding artists scheduled to appear, any compensation, financial or otherwise, they're receiving, typical performances. The company must also disclose whether their artists' participation at the event will influence their airplay. Okay? Additional requests from FCC include, and by the way, iHeart providing a list of musicians. So they have to provide a list of musicians, artists, or acts that were invited to appear to perform at the festival but declined to do so. To the extent you have such information, please indicate why they declined to appear. Okay? We look forward to demonstrating to the commission how performing at our iHeart Country Festival or decline to do so have no bearing. So, by the way, and just to be very fair, this probe didn't come from Drake. It didn't come from it thinking hip hop is all payola. This is coming out of the country sector. And, iHeart, which has had at times these programs of how it picks certain artists to increase their airplay or give them promotion, the FCC is interested to make sure that this is fair and that this is not something where they're doing it out of pressuring artists. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a overarching investigation, and if they do find that people are taking money, I think that works to help Drake. Now, even if they don't find directly that people are getting paid, and it's nothing hip hop, and I know some people are like, oh, Kendrick's name is gonna come. Maybe not. If iHeartMedia is then seen to be culpable at all in payola, that strengthens Drake's case against UMG, because it would have meant that Drake has some backing. Again, Drake has to use other things as proof of what he's saying. Drake accused UMG of colluding with iHeart. If the FCC comes out with a report to say, yes, iHeart with UMG artists did this agreement that was payola, that actually proves Drake's point, and his point going forward, sorry, in a lawsuit looks much better. Again, I'm not saying Drake is going to win this shit. I don't even like the lawsuit, because I really think that Drake's lawsuit should have been focused on Kendrick called you a pedophile, sue that nigga for defamation. Okay? This angle of bots or whatever, I don't care about it. All right. So, yeah. And by the way, Breakfast Club, to be clear, iHeart's statement on Drake's petitions, here's an updated statement. In an exchange, it showed iHeart did nothing wrong. Drake agreed to drop his petition. No payments were made by either one of us. Yeah, y'all gave the nigga some documents. I'm pretty sure he saw some bullshit. But the reason why Drake is dropping is more in line with the fact that the FCC is doing a probe into y'all. And by the way, it was already proven because Drake has filed an additional, Drake has filed a 26-page motion for discovery. And even though he has removed iHeart, he is now piggybacking off the fact that payola, there is a payola probe that is happening. And we could read here, it says, Petitioner Drake is filing this motion seeking limited discovery from UMG pursuant to blah, blah. He filed his petition on the Texas Rule of Civil Procedure 202, seeking a narrow pre-suit discovery into UMG and iHeartMedia. So, by the way, for the people who said that, oh no, Drake was happy, he saw that nothing was wrong. Wrong. Okay. In connection with UMG's unlawful efforts to turn the song Not Like Us. Now, granted, I think that's going to be the thing Drake has to prove, because even if the feds come back and say, yeah, there's some payola going on here, well, Drake isn't suing overall for payola. Drake is suing, saying that there was an unfair advantage, that payola affected Not Like Us. So he has to go one step further other than general payola. But at first, he's establishing the ground basis that payola seems to be happening with UMG and iHeartMedia. Okay? Here. UMG holds the exclusive control of the song. Petition alleges engaged in deliberate, irregular, and inappropriate business practices, including covert and illegal pay-to-play, payola deals to create a record-shattering spread of it. Drake concerns regarding UMG apparent misconduct are detailed in his petition, but also supported by widespread concerns regarding industry practices, including in Texas. Recently, on February 6th, the Federal Communications Commissions issued an enforcement advisory regarding the covert manipulation of radio airplay in violation of FCC payola rules. Just last week, February 24th, 2025, FCC made clear that the regulatory interest touches on conduct in the district. Indeed, the FCC made public a request it sent to iHeartMedia regarding compliance with payola rules in connection with the upcoming events in Texas. Along these lines, Drake petition sought pre-suit discovery because he believes that UMG improper promotional conduct vis-a-vis anyway, the Not Like Us song may give rise to the claim of civil fraud, racketeering, and other causes of action against UMG and its many, as of yet, unidentified co-conspirators. Determined to resist discovery, okay, here we go, however limited, into his secret promotional tactics at all costs, on January 23rd, UMG filed a motion to dismiss Drake's petition, right? Arguing that Drake's petition is foreclosed by the TCPA because of inter alia. The petition is allegedly related to UMG's core free speech protected by the First Amendment. Okay, so basically, and there's some footnotes here that basically show that Drake is piggybacking his his petition, off of the fact that the feds have inquired about the practices that seemingly might be violating payola laws. And again, this is why he dismissed iHeartMedia, because the feds looking into them. Makes sense. So again, if we're gonna tell the story, we gotta tell it all. Okay, gotta tell it all. All right, I think that's about it. My voice going? Sorry, Chad. Let me go back in. Let me just listen to this bullshit again.
Okay, so y'all remember the whole legal back and forth that Drake had happening in Texas with like iHeart, and he was alleging that Universal Music Group was paying money to iHeart radio stations over Not Like Us and boosting the streams. So there have been reports that there was an alleged settlement, but that is not what happened.
What happened? Well, we know nobody cares about the truth and the lies more entertaining, but I need DJ Akademiks and all the Drake fan pages to gather around to get the truth regardless.
Get
okay,
the facts.
It's simple. What Drake filed against iHeart wasn't a lawsuit. What he filed was a petition.
Yes.
And it was a petition to try to make iHeart give a deposition. So Drake wasn't asking for money. He was asking for information. Right. So iHeart could not have made a payment. iHeart could negotiate to give Drake documents or something else showing they didn't do anything wrong. And once Drake received those documents and saw that there was nothing there, he could agree to drop his petition. And that's exactly what happened. Okay, he simply dropped his petition because after he saw what he needed to see, he realized iHeart was not engaged in any of the actions that...
Again, wrong. All right. All good. All good. Let me see what else is cracking on out here. Chat, y'all could definitely spam up some topics. Trump paused military aid after that fuck nigga Zelensky started acting up in the Oval Office. I respect it. Again, this ain't a Trump and Zelensky thing. This is a you Ukrainian niggas gonna learn to say thank you. That's it. I'm sorry. I don't give two fucks. All right. Yeah, everybody's reporting this.